Maya Rodriguez stood outside Lincoln High School and took a deep breath. The morning air was cool and fresh. She could hear students talking and laughing as they walked past her. Cars were dropping off more students in the parking lot. The school bell would ring soon. She held her white cane in her right hand. Her backpack felt heavy on her shoulders. Maya had practiced this walk many times with her mom during the summer. She knew how many steps it took to get from the front gate to the main door. She had memorized the path to her locker and to each classroom. Maya was 17 years old. This was her first day as a junior at Lincoln High. Her family had moved to this town 3 months ago. Her dad got a new job here. Maya was nervous but also excited. She wanted to make a good start. 2 years ago, Maya could see everything. She loved watching movies and reading books. She played piano and won many contests. Then came the car accident that changed her life forever. A drunk driver hit their car on a rainy night. Maya's mom and dad were okay, but Maya lost her sight. The doctor said it would never come back. The first year was very hard. Maya felt angry and sad most of the time. She did not want to leave her room. She did not want to learn how to use a cane or read Braille. But slowly, with help from her family and teachers, she started to build a new life. She learned that she could still do many things. She just had to do them differently. At her old school, most students knew about her accidents. Some were kind and helpful. Others felt uncomfortable around her. A few made mean comments when they thought she could not hear them. Maya hoped things would be better at Lincoln High. She walked through the front door. The hallway was crowded and noisy. Students were opening lockers and talking about their summer vacations. Maya used her cane to find her way. She moved slowly and carefully. Other students had to walk around her sometimes. "Watch out," said a boy's voice behind her. "Sorry," Maya said quietly. She found her locker on the second try. The combination was easy to remember because it was her birthday. She put some books inside and took out what she needed for her first class. A girl with a friendly voice helped her find the math classroom. Maya's first 3 classes went well. The teachers were nice and made sure she had the right materials. One boy in her English class offered to share his notes with her. At lunchtime, Maya was not sure where to go. The cafeteria was very loud and crowded. She bought a sandwich and looked for a place to sit. Most tables were full of students who already knew each other. Maya found an empty table in the corner. She ate by herself and listened to the conversations around her. Some students were talking about sports tryouts. Others discussed weekend plans. Maya wished she could join in, but she did not know anyone yet. After lunch, Maya had a free period. She decided to explore the school a little. She wanted to find the library and the gym. As she walked down a hallway, she heard beautiful music coming from one of the rooms. It was piano music. Someone was playing a song she recognized. Maya followed the sound. She found the music room. The door was open. She stood in the doorway and listened. The music stopped and she heard students talking. "That was pretty good, Sarah," said a teacher's voice. "Thanks, Mrs. Chun. I've been practicing all summer," a girl replied. Maya stepped into the room. She could smell the wood polish on the instruments. She heard students packing up their things. "Can I help you?" asked the teacher. "I'm Maya Rodriguez. I'm new here. I heard the music and wanted to see the room." "Welcome to Lincoln High, Maya. I'm Mrs. Chun, the music teacher." "Do you play any instruments?" Maya hesitated. "I used to play piano before my accident. Would you like to look around?" "Most of my students are leaving for their next class." Maya nodded. She heard the students file out of the room. Mrs. Chun walked with her and described the different instruments. There were violins, trumpets, drums, and guitars. In the back corner stood an old upright piano. "This piano is quite old, but it still sounds beautiful," Mrs. Chun said. Maya walked over to it. She put her hand on the smooth wood. She could feel the keys under her fingers. They felt familiar and comforting. For a moment, she forgot where she was. She remembered all the hours she used to spend practicing. She remembered the feeling of playing a difficult piece perfectly. "You can touch it if you want," Mrs. Chun said gently. Maya sat down on the bench. She placed both hands on the keyboard. The keys felt exactly like the piano at home. She pressed one key softly. It made a clear, sweet sound. Just then, 3 students walked into the room. They had come back to get something they forgot. "What's she doing?" one of them whispered. "I think she's trying to play," said another, "but she's blind." "How can she play piano if she can't see the keys?" asked the third student. Maya's face turned red. She could hear them clearly, even though they were trying to whisper. She quickly pulled her hands away from the piano. "Come on, guys, let's go," said one of the students. They laughed a little as they left. Maya stood up from the bench. She felt embarrassed and hurt. Mrs. Chun came over to her. "Don't listen to them, Maya. Some people don't understand that blind musicians can be just as good as anyone else." But Maya was already walking toward the door. "I should go to my next class. Thank you for showing me around." She left the music room quickly. In the hallway, she leaned against the wall for a moment. She felt disappointed. She had hoped that maybe, just maybe, she could play piano again at this new school. But the students' comments reminded her that people would always see her blindness first. The rest of the day passed slowly. In her last class, Maya sat near the back and tried to focus on the lesson. But she kept thinking about the piano and how good it felt to touch the keys again. She also thought about the students who laughed at her dot when school ended. Maya waited by the front door for her mom to pick her up. Students walked past her, talking and laughing with their friends. Maya felt lonely. She wondered if she would ever fit in at this school. Her mom arrived a few minutes later. "How was your first day, honey?" "It was okay," Maya said as she got in the car, but as they drove home, Maya could not stop thinking about the piano in the music room. Despite the embarrassing moment, she felt drawn to it. She had not played piano since her accident. Maybe it was time to try again. Maybe tomorrow she would go back to the music room during lunch. Maybe this time no one would be there to laugh at her. The next day, Maya could not focus on her morning classes. She kept thinking about the piano in the music room. During math class, instead of listening to the teacher explain equations, she imagined her fingers moving across the piano keys. In English class, while other students read aloud, Maya remembered the songs she used to play. When lunchtime came, Maya did not go to the cafeteria. Instead, she walked slowly toward the music room. Her heart was beating fast. She hoped no one would be there. She hoped Mrs. Chun would not mind if she went inside. The hallway near the music room was quiet. Most students were eating lunch or hanging out in other parts of the school. Maya stood outside the door and listened. She could not hear any voices or music. She knocked softly on the door frame. "Hello, Mrs. Chun?" she called. No one answered. Maya stepped into the room carefully. She used her cane to make sure no one was sitting in the chairs. The room was empty. She could hear her own footsteps on the floor as she walked toward the back corner where the piano stood. Maya sat down on the piano bench. She put her hands on her lap and took a deep breath. The room was very quiet. She could hear students talking and laughing in the distance, but in here it felt peaceful. Slowly, Maya placed her hands on the piano keys. They felt cool and smooth under her fingers. She pressed one key gently. The note rang out clearly in the quiet room. She pressed another key, then another. Each note sounded perfect. Maya tried to remember a simple song she used to play. It was called Für Elise by a famous composer named Beethoven. She had learned it when she was 12 years old. Her fingers remembered where to go, even though she could not see the keys. She started playing very slowly. Her left hand played the low notes while her right hand played the melody. At first, she made some mistakes. She pressed the wrong keys a few times. But after a few minutes, the song started to sound right. Maya felt something wonderful happening. When she played piano, she forgot about everything else. She forgot about being the new student. She forgot about the kids who had laughed at her yesterday. She forgot about all the things that were hard about being blind. When she played piano, she felt like herself again. She finished Für Elise and sat quietly for a moment. Then she tried another song. This one was called Moonlight Sonata, also by Beethoven. It was harder to play, but Maya's fingers remembered this song too. She had practiced it hundreds of times before her accident. Maya was so focused on playing that she did not hear footsteps in the hallway. She did not notice when someone stopped in the doorway of the music room. Mrs. Chun had come back from lunch and heard the beautiful music coming from her classroom. Mrs. Chun stood very still and listened. She could not believe what she was hearing. The music was perfect. Every note was clear and strong. The student playing had real talent. Mrs. Chun wondered which one of her advanced students was practicing during lunch. She stepped into the room quietly and saw Maya sitting at the old piano. Mrs. Chun was amazed. Yesterday, Maya had seemed nervous and shy when she touched the keys. Today, she was playing like a professional musician. Maya finished the song and sat back. She felt happy and peaceful. She had missed this feeling so much. That was absolutely beautiful, said Mrs. Chun's voice behind her. Maya jumped a little. She had not heard the teacher come in. Oh, Mrs. Chun! I'm sorry. I didn't mean to use your piano without asking. Please don't apologize. That was wonderful. How long have you been playing? Maya turned around on the bench. I started when I was 6 years old. I played for about 8 years before my accident. You're very talented, Maya. Have you tried playing since your accident? No, this is the first time I've touched a piano in 2 years. I was afraid I had forgotten everything. Mrs. Chun walked over and sat in a chair near the piano. Well, you certainly haven't forgotten. Your muscle memory is incredible. Those are not easy songs to play. Maya smiled a little. My mom used to say I had music in my fingers. Your mom was right. Would you like to play something else? Maya thought for a moment. Then she turned back to the piano and started playing a song called Clair de Lune. This song was very soft and gentle. It sounded like moonlight looked. Her old piano teacher used to say. Mrs. Chun listened with tears in her eyes. She had been teaching music for 20 years, and she had never heard a student play with so much feeling. Maya was not just playing the notes correctly. She was telling a story with the music. When Maya finished, Mrs. Chun clapped softly. Maya, that was extraordinary. You have a gift. Thank you, Maya said quietly. It feels good to play again. Would you like to come here during lunch every day? You can practice whenever you want. Maya's face lit up. Really? You wouldn't mind? I would be honored to have you use this piano. But Maya, I think you should consider performing for other people. Your music is too beautiful to keep hidden. Maya's smile faded a little. I don't think other students would want to hear me play. Yesterday, some kids laughed when they saw me touching the piano. Mrs. Chun looked sad. Some people don't understand what they haven't experienced themselves. But music has the power to change people's minds. When they hear you play, they'll understand that you're a real musician. Maybe, Maya said. But for now, I just want to practice by myself. Is that okay? Of course. This can be our secret if you want. Maya felt grateful. Thank you, Mrs. Chun. This means a lot to me. For the rest of the week, Maya came to the music room every day during lunch. Sometimes Mrs. Chun was there, and sometimes Maya practiced alone. Each day she played better than the day before. Her fingers were getting stronger, and her memory was getting sharper. Maya tried different kinds of music. She played classical pieces by famous composers. She played some popular songs she remembered from the radio. She even tried to play some music by ear, figuring out the notes just by listening to melodies in her head. Mrs. Chun was amazed by Maya's progress. On Friday, she asked Maya if she wanted to try playing some new music. She had sheet music written in Braille that another blind student had used years ago. I can read Braille, but I've never read music in Braille, Maya said. It's very similar to regular Braille, but with special symbols for musical notes, Mrs. Chun explained. Would you like to try? Maya was excited. Yes, please. Mrs. Chun brought out a Braille music book. She showed Maya how the dots represented different notes and rhythms. Maya learned quickly. By the end of lunch, she was reading simple songs in Braille. You're a natural at this, Mrs. Chun said. With some practice, you'll be able to learn new songs without hearing them first. Maya felt excited about this new skill. She could learn music that she had never heard before. She could play songs that no one had taught her. As the days went by, Maya looked forward to lunchtime more than any other part of the school day. In the music room, she felt confident and happy. She felt like the person she used to be before her accident, but Maya was careful to keep her piano playing secret from other students. She did not want anyone to laugh at her again. She did not want people to think she was showing off or trying to get attention. Maya ate lunch quickly in the cafeteria, then hurried to the music room. She made sure no other students saw her going there. She wanted to keep this special time to herself. Mrs. Chun respected Maya's wishes, but she hoped that someday Maya would feel brave enough to share her music with others. She knew that Maya's playing could inspire people and change their ideas about what blind people could do. For now, though, Mrs. Chun was happy to see Maya growing more confident each day. The shy, nervous girl who had walked into the music room on the first day was becoming a strong, talented young musician again. Maya was finding herself through music, one note at a time. Maya had been practicing piano in the music room for 3 weeks. She felt happier than she had in a long time. Every day she looked forward to lunch so she could play music. Her skills were getting better, and she was learning new songs, but Maya did not know that some students had noticed her daily trips to the music room. Jake Morrison was a popular student at Lincoln High. He was the captain of the football team and dated one of the prettiest girls in school. Jake liked to be the center of attention, and he did not like it when other people got special treatment. Jake had seen Maya walking to the music room during lunch several times. He wondered what she was doing in there. One day he decided to find out. Maya was in the middle of playing a beautiful piece by Chopin when she heard voices outside the music room door. She stopped playing and listened. "I bet she's in there pretending to play piano," said Jake's voice. "Come on, Jake, let's just go," said another boy. "No, I want to see this. It should be funny." Maya heard footsteps coming into the room. Her heart started beating fast. She turned around on the piano bench. Well, look what we have here," Jake said loudly. "It's the blind girl and her pretend piano concert." 2 other boys were with Jake. Maya recognized their voices from her classes. They were part of Jake's group of friends who always sat together at lunch. "I wasn't bothering anyone," Maya said quietly. "Mrs. Chun said I could practice here." "Practice?" Jake laughed. "You can't even see the keys. How can you practice piano if you don't know where your hands are going?" Maya felt her face get hot. "I can play. I've been playing piano since I was little." "Sure you can," said one of Jake's friends. "I bet you're just hitting random keys and hoping it sounds like music." Maya wanted to prove them wrong, but she felt too nervous to play while they were watching her. Her hands were shaking a little. "Play something then," Jake said. "Show us how good you are." Maya put her hands on the piano keys, but she could not make herself start playing. The boys were standing too close to her. She felt trapped. "See? I told you she was faking," Jake said. "She probably comes in here every day and pretends to be some kind of musical genius." "That's not true," Maya said, but her voice sounded weak. The boys laughed and walked out of the room. Maya sat alone at the piano bench for a long time. She felt embarrassed and angry. Why couldn't they just leave her alone? The next day, Maya went to the music room as usual. But this time, Jake and his friends were waiting for her. They were sitting in chairs near the piano. "Oh, look, here comes our favorite piano player," Jake said sarcastically. Maya thought about leaving, but she really wanted to practice. She had been working on a new song, and she did not want to give up. "I'm just going to practice for a few minutes," Maya said. She sat down at the piano. "This should be good," said one of the boys. "Let's see what kind of noise she makes today." Maya tried to ignore them. She started playing the song she had been practicing. It was a gentle, sad piece that required a lot of concentration. But with the boys talking and laughing behind her, she could not focus. She made several mistakes. "Wow, that sounds terrible," Jake said loudly. "Are you sure that's music?" Maya stopped playing. "Could you please be quiet? I'm trying to concentrate." "Oh, sorry, we didn't know we were disturbing the concert," Jake said with fake politeness. His friends laughed. Maya tried to play again, but she made even more mistakes. The boys kept making comments about every wrong note she played. Finally, Maya gave up. She stood up from the piano bench. "Where are you going?" Jake asked. "We were enjoying the show." Maya left the music room without saying anything. She spent the rest of lunch in the library, feeling sad and frustrated. The harassment continued for several days. Every time Maya went to the music room, Jake and his friends showed up. They made loud comments while she tried to play. They recorded videos of her on their phones. They whispered mean things to each other, but loud enough for Maya to hear. One day, Jake brought even more students with him. About 8 kids crowded into the music room while Maya was playing. "Everyone come see the blind girl's piano concert," Jake announced. "It's free entertainment." Maya stopped playing immediately. She felt humiliated. All these students were staring at her, waiting for her to make mistakes. "Play something," said a girl's voice. "We want to hear how good you are." Maya knew they were not being sincere. They wanted to watch her fail. She stood up and tried to leave, but there were too many students blocking her way to the door. "Come on, don't be shy," Jake said. "You come here every day to practice. You must think you're pretty good." "Let me through, please," Maya said. "Not until you play something for us," Jake said. "We're your audience. Don't you want to perform?" For an audience, Maya felt panic rising in her chest. She did not know how to get out of this situation. Just then, Mrs. Chun walked into the room. "What's going on here?" the teacher asked in a stern voice. "We were just listening to Maya play piano," Jake said innocently. "She's very talented." Mrs. Chun looked around the crowded room. She could see that Maya was upset. "Everyone except Maya needs to leave right now. But Mrs. Chun, we were just—" Jake started to say. "Out now." Mrs. Chun's voice was firm. The students filed out of the room, some of them still giggling. Jake was the last to leave. He looked back at Maya with a smirk. "Sorry we bothered your practice session," he said sarcastically. After they left, Mrs. Chun sat down next to Maya. "Are you okay, honey?" Maya shook her head. She felt like crying. "They come here every day now. They make fun of me when I try to play." "How long has this been going on?" "About a week. They record me on their phones and laugh when I make mistakes." Mrs. Chun looked angry. "This is not acceptable. I'm going to talk to the principal about this." "No, please don't," Maya said quickly. "That will just make it worse. They'll think I'm a tattletale." "Maya, what they're doing is bullying. You shouldn't have to deal with this. I just want to play piano in peace." "Is there somewhere else I can practice?" Mrs. Chun thought for a moment. "You could use the piano in the practice room down the hall. It's smaller, and students don't usually go there." Maya nodded. "Thank you." But even in the practice room, Maya could not escape the harassment. Jake and his friends found her there too. They stood outside the door and made loud comments. They knocked on the walls to distract her while she played. The situation got worse when someone posted a video of Maya playing piano on social media. The video was taken secretly, and the person who posted it wrote mean comments about Maya's playing. The video spread quickly through the school's social media groups. Students Maya didn't even know started recognizing her in the hallways. Some pointed at her and whispered to their friends. Others made jokes about the blind piano girl when they saw her. Maya's confidence crumbled completely. She stopped going to the music room altogether. She stopped practicing piano. During lunch, she hid in the library or ate quickly in the cafeteria and then went to her locker. Mrs. Chen noticed that Maya was no longer coming to practice. She found Maya in the library one day and asked why she had stopped playing. "I can't do it anymore," Maya said sadly. "Every time I try to play, they show up and make fun of me. I made a mistake thinking I could play piano again." "Maya, you are incredibly talented. Don't let a few mean students take that away from you." But Maya had already given up. She felt like she had been foolish to think she could be a musician again. The bullying had convinced her that she was just embarrassing herself. Maya stopped talking to other students unless she had to. She ate lunch alone and avoided eye contact with everyone. Her grades started to suffer because she could not concentrate in class. She spent most of her time thinking about the mean comments and the embarrassing videos. At home, Maya's parents noticed that she seemed sad and withdrawn. She had stopped talking about school and music. When they asked her what was wrong, she said everything was fine. She did not want to worry them or admit that she was being bullied. Maya felt more alone than ever. The one thing that had made her happy at school was gone. She began to wonder if she would ever feel confident and successful. Again, the bullies had taken away more than just her practice time. They had taken away her hope. Maya had not touched a piano in 2 weeks. She missed playing music more than she thought possible, but she could not face another day of Jake and his friends making fun of her. She spent her lunch periods in the library, reading books and trying to forget about the music room. Mrs. Chun was worried about Maya. She had seen how happy and confident Maya became when she played piano. Now, Maya seemed sad and withdrawn again. Mrs. Chun knew about the bullying, even though Maya had asked her not to report it. The music teacher was trying to think of a way to help. One morning, the principal announced something exciting over the school's loudspeaker system. "Attention, students," said Principal Johnson's voice. "It's time for our annual Lincoln High Talent Show. Auditions will be held next Friday after school in the auditorium. The show will take place in 3 weeks. All students are welcome to participate. Sign-up sheets are available in the main office." Maya heard the announcement in her English class. She felt a little sad because she remembered how much she used to love performing in talent shows at her old school. But she quickly pushed those thoughts away. There was no way she could perform in front of the whole school now, after school. Maya was walking to her locker when she heard someone call her name. "Maya, wait up," said Mrs. Chun's voice. Maya stopped and turned around. Mrs. Chun hurried over to her. "Did you hear about the talent show?" Mrs. Chun asked. "Yes, but I'm not interested," Maya said quickly. "I think you should consider auditioning. Your piano playing is extraordinary." Maya shook her head. "Mrs. Chun, you know what happened when I tried to practice? I can't perform in front of hundreds of people." "Maya, I have an idea. What if I recorded you playing during one of our practice sessions? You could listen to how beautiful your music sounds. Maybe it would help you remember how talented you are." Maya was quiet for a moment. She had never heard herself play piano. Before her accident, she had made recordings for competitions, but she had never really listened to them carefully. "I don't know," Maya said. "Just think about it, okay? You have until Friday to decide." That evening, Maya could not stop thinking about Mrs. Chun's suggestion. She wondered what her piano playing actually sounded like to other people. She had always focused on how the music felt to her, not how it sounded to listeners. The next day, Maya found Mrs. Chin in the music room during lunch. "I've been thinking about what you said," Maya began. "Maybe I could try playing while you record me." "But I don't want to audition for the talent show," Mrs. Chun smiled. "That's a great start. Let's see how you feel after you hear yourself play." Maya sat down at the piano. She felt nervous because she had not played in 2 weeks. Her fingers felt stiff and uncertain. She started with some simple warm-up exercises. "Take your time," Mrs. Chun said gently. "There's no pressure." After a few minutes, Maya felt more comfortable. She began playing Clair de Lune, the soft and beautiful piece that had become one of her favorites. As she played, she forgot about being recorded. She lost herself in the music like she always did. When she finished, Mrs. Chun was quiet for a moment. "That was absolutely lovely, Maya. Would you like to hear it?" Maya nodded. Mrs. Chun played the recording on her phone. Maya listened in amazement. The music sounded even more beautiful than she had imagined. Every note was clear and expressive. The melody flowed like water. "Is that really me playing?" Maya asked in wonder. "That's all you, sweetheart. You have a gift that most people only dream of having." Maya listened to the recording 2 more times. She could hardly believe that such beautiful music had come from her own hands. "Mrs. Chun, do you really think I could perform in the talent show?" "I think you could win the talent show," Mrs. Chun said honestly. "But more importantly, I think performing would help you gain confidence again. Music is meant to be shared." Maya was quiet for several minutes. She was scared, but she was also excited. Maybe this was her chance to show everyone that she was more than just the blind girl. Maybe she could prove that she was a real musician. If I audition, will you help me practice? Maya asked. Mrs. Chen's face lit up. Of course. We can practice. Every day after school if you want. Okay, Maya said, taking a deep breath. I'll do it. For the rest of the week, Maya practiced every day with Mrs. Chun. She worked on several different pieces, trying to decide which one would be best for her. The audition, Mrs. Chun suggested a piece called Ballade No. 1 by Chopin. It was challenging and beautiful, with both gentle and powerful sections. Maya had played this piece before her accident, but it had been one of the hardest songs in her repertoire. She was not sure she could play it perfectly after being away from piano for so long. This piece tells a story, Mrs. Chun explained. It starts quietly and builds to dramatic climaxes. It's perfect for showing your technical skill and your emotional expression. Maya practiced the piece every day. At first she made many mistakes. Her fingers were not as strong as they used to be, but gradually the music came back to her. Her muscle memory was still there, waiting to be awakened. Friday afternoon arrived. Maya felt nervous as she walked toward the auditorium with Mrs. Chen. She had her sheet music in Braille. Even though she had memorized the piece, carrying the music made her feel more confident. The auditorium was buzzing with activity. About 30 students had signed up to audition. Maya heard students practicing dance routines, singing songs, and rehearsing comedy skits. The energy was exciting, but also overwhelming. Maya found a seat in the back row to wait for her turn. Mrs. Chun sat beside her. Remember, just focus on the music, Mrs. Chun whispered. Don't think about anything else. Maya watched other students perform their auditions. There were singers, dancers, a magic act, and even a student who did impressions of famous people. Everyone seemed confident and prepared. Then Maya heard a familiar voice on stage. It was Jake Morrison and 3 of his friends. They were performing a comedy skit that involved making fun of different types of students at the school. Maya's stomach dropped when she realized they were mocking her. And here we have the mysterious music student who practices invisible piano, Jake said in a silly voice. His friends pretended to play air piano and bumped into each other, acting like they could not see. Several students in the audience laughed. Maya felt her face turn red with embarrassment and anger. She wanted to leave immediately. Maya, don't listen to them, Mrs. Chun said quietly. They're just showing everyone how immature they are. But Maya felt all her confidence draining away. How could she perform after Jake had just made fun of her in front of everyone? I can't do this, Maya whispered. Everyone will think I'm a joke. Maya Rodriguez, called the student who was running the auditions. You're next. Maya sat frozen in her seat. She could not make herself stand up. Maya, you have more talent in your little finger than Jake has in his whole body, Mrs. Chun said firmly. Don't let him take this away from you. Maya took a deep breath. She thought about how beautiful her music had sounded in the recording. She thought about how happy she felt when she played piano. She thought about all the hours she had practiced to prepare for this moment. Slowly, Maya stood up. She walked down the aisle toward the stage, using her cane to guide her. Students in the audience whispered to each other as they recognized her. Oh. It's the blind piano girl, someone said. This should be interesting, said another voice. Jake and his friends were just leaving the stage. As Maya passed them, Jake spoke loudly enough for everyone to hear. Good luck with your concert, he said sarcastically. Try not to fall off the stage. His friends laughed, and some students in the audience giggled too. Maya felt like running away, but instead she kept walking toward the piano on stage. Mrs. Chun followed her and helped her get settled on the piano bench. You've got this, Mrs. Chun whispered before walking away. Maya sat alone on the stage. The auditorium was not completely quiet. She could hear students whispering and moving around in their seats. Some were probably expecting her to fail. Maya placed her hands on the piano keys. It felt familiar and comforting, just like always. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Then she began to play. Maya's fingers touched the piano keys, and the first notes of Chopin's Ballade No. 1 filled the auditorium. The sound was clear and beautiful. As soon as she started playing, something magical happened. All the noise in the auditorium stopped. Students stopped whispering. People stopped moving around in their seats. Everyone was listening. Maya felt all her nervousness disappear. This was where she belonged. This was what she was meant to do. The music flowed through her fingers like it had a life of its own. Every note was perfect, every phrase was full of emotion. The piece started gently, with a simple and sweet melody. Maya's right hand played the tune while her left hand provided soft accompaniment. The music sounded like someone telling a story. In a quiet voice, students in the audience leaned forward in their seats, drawn in by the beautiful sound. Jake Morrison, who had been smirking when Maya first sat down, found his expression changing. He had expected her to play badly, maybe hit wrong notes or sound confused. Instead, he was hearing music that was more beautiful than anything he had ever experienced. His mouth fell open in surprise. As the piece continued, the music became more complex and dramatic. Maya's hands moved across the keys with incredible speed and precision. Her left hand played deep, thundering bass notes while her right hand danced through difficult passages. The music built to a powerful climax that made everyone in the auditorium hold their breath. Mrs. Chun stood at the side of the stage with tears in her eyes. She had known Maya was talented, but seeing her perform in front of an audience was something special. Maya was not just playing the notes correctly. She was making the piano sing. She was telling a story that everyone could understand, even without words. Some students in the audience had never heard classical music before. They had expected it to be boring or hard to understand. But Maya's playing was so expressive and emotional that they found themselves completely captivated. The music made them feel things they had never felt before. Sarah Chun, a girl in Maya's English class, wiped away a tear. She had been one of the students who giggled when Jake made fun of Maya. Now she felt ashamed of herself. How could she have laughed at someone with such incredible talent? The music told a story of struggle and triumph, of sadness and joy, of someone overcoming great challenges. Many students thought about Maya's own story as they listened. Here was a girl who had lost her sight but had not lost her ability to create something beautiful. As Maya played the most difficult section of the piece, her hands flew across the keys with perfect control. Notes cascaded like water falling over rocks. The music was both powerful and delicate at the same time. Several students had their mouths open in amazement. They could not believe what they were seeing and hearing. Jake's friends, who had been part of the group that bullied Maya, looked uncomfortable. They realized that they had been making fun of someone who had more talent than all of them combined. Mike Thompson, one of Jake's closest friends, felt sick to his stomach thinking about how mean they had been. The piece moved through different emotions like chapters in a book. Sometimes the music was gentle and sad, making people think of lost loves or missed opportunities. Other times it was bold and triumphant, like a hero winning a great battle. Maya's face showed every emotion as she played. She was completely lost in the music. Students who had never paid attention to Maya before found themselves wondering about her story. How had she learned to play so beautifully? What was it like to create such amazing music without being able to see the keys? They began to understand that Maya was not just the blind girl, she was an artist. As the piece neared its end, Maya played with even more passion and intensity. The music built to a final, dramatic climax that seemed to shake the walls of the auditorium. Then, suddenly it became gentle again. The piece ended with the same sweet melody it had started with, but now it sounded different. It sounded like someone who had been through a great journey and had come home. Maya played the final notes and lifted her hands from the keys. The auditorium was completely silent. For a moment, nobody moved. The silence stretched on and on. Then, from somewhere in the back of the auditorium, one person started clapping. Then another person joined in. Within seconds, the entire auditorium erupted in thunderous applause. Students jumped to their feet, giving Maya a standing ovation. Maya sat at the piano bench, hardly believing what was happening. She had never received applause like this before, even at her competition performances when she was younger. The sound was overwhelming and wonderful. Mrs. Chung rushed onto the stage and hugged Maya tightly. "That was absolutely incredible," she whispered in Maya's ear. The applause continued for what felt like several minutes. Students were cheering and whistling. Some were crying. The judges for the auditions looked at each other in amazement. They had never heard anything like this at a high school talent show. When the applause finally died down, Maya stood up from the piano bench. She was shaking a little, but she was smiling bigger than she had smiled in months. "Thank you," she said into the microphone that someone had brought over to her. As Maya walked off the stage with Mrs. Chun's help, students came up to her to offer congratulations. People who had never spoken to her before wanted to tell her how beautiful her playing was. "Maya, that was amazing," said Sarah Chun. "I'm so sorry I never talked to you before. You're incredibly talented." "I've never heard anything like that," said another student. "You made me cry." Even some of Jake's friends approached Maya. Mike Thompson looked embarrassed as he spoke to her. "Maya, I want to apologize for how we've been treating you. We were completely wrong. You're an amazing musician." Maya was gracious and kind to everyone who spoke to her. She thanked them for listening and for their kind words. Jake himself stood at the back of the auditorium, watching other students congratulate Maya. He felt terrible about everything he had done. He had been jealous of the attention Maya was getting, but now he realized she deserved all of it and more. He wanted to apologize, but he was too ashamed to approach her. Later that evening, Mrs. Chun called Maya at home. "Maya, I have some wonderful news. The judges want to talk to you about the talent show." "What do they want to talk about?" Maya asked. "They want to know if you would be willing to perform in the actual show. They said your audition was the best they've ever seen at Lincoln High." Maya felt excited and nervous. "Do you think I should do it?" "I think you should do whatever feels right to you." "But Maya, what you did today was incredible. You changed people's minds. You showed them what you're capable of." Maya thought about the standing ovation and all the students who had congratulated her. For the first time since her accident, she felt proud of herself again. "Yes," she said. "I want to perform in the talent show." The video of Maya's audition, which Mrs. Chun had recorded with permission, was shared on the school's social media pages. Within days, it had thousands of views and hundreds of positive comments. People from other schools and even other cities were talking about the blind girl from Lincoln High, who played piano like an angel. Maya's performance had done more than just earn her a spot in the talent show. It had changed how everyone at school saw her. She was no longer just the blind girl. She was Maya Rodriguez, the incredibly talented musician who had shown them all what true talent looked like. Jake Morrison spent the weekend thinking about what he had witnessed. On Monday morning, he found Maya at her locker. "Maya," he said quietly, "can I talk to you?" Maya turned toward his voice. She was still cautious around him. "I want to apologize," Jake said. "What my friends and I did to you was terrible. We were wrong, and I'm sorry. Your music is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard." Maya was surprised by his sincerity. "Thank you for apologizing, Jake. That means a lot." "I hope you'll forgive us," Jake said. "And I hope you'll keep playing music. You have an amazing gift." As Maya walked to her first class that morning, students smiled at her and said hello. Teachers congratulated her on her performance. She felt like she belonged at Lincoln High for the first time. The talent show was still 2 weeks away, but Maya was no longer afraid. She had found her confidence again. She had remembered who she really was. She was a musician, and her music had the power to touch people's hearts and change their minds. Maya Rodriguez had not just played a piano piece at an audition. She had shown everyone, including herself, that being blind did not mean being limited. She had proved that with talent, determination, and courage, she could accomplish anything she set her mind to. Her journey was far from over. But Maya now knew that she had the strength to face whatever challenges came next. She had her music, She had people who believed in her, and most importantly, she believed in herself again.